Modern life pressures us to seek quick answers and immediate solutions to the suffering we face. Often, we resort to logic, intellect, and external explanations to justify why we feel stuck in patterns of pain and anguish. But are we looking in the right direction? Much of our suffering is born not from the outside world, but from the way our mind interprets it. When we use intellect as the sole tool, we fall into a cycle of analysis and judgment that distances us from inner peace. No wonder so many people feel mentally exhausted, as if their mind has turned into a factory of suffering. Understanding this dynamic is the first step to breaking free from this cycle and accessing something much deeper within ourselves. True freedom is not found in trying to solve all of life's problems with the mind, but in learning to live beyond its limitation. And this is possible. By exploring practices like yoga and meditation, we begin to access an internal wisdom that goes beyond reason. This wisdom invites us to silence the mental chaos and connect with a dimension where suffering doesn't hold the same weight. If you want to dive deeper into these topics and discover how to transcend the suffering your mind creates, subscribe to the channel. There's much to explore, and each step of this journey reveals something new about you. We're just at the beginning of a journey of self-discovery, and this could be the turning point you've been looking for. Are you ready to continue this quest? The human mind has the ability to turn small challenges into huge sources of suffering. When left unchecked, it starts creating scenarios of fear, failure, and insecurity. Instead of using intellect as a tool to solve problems, many people get trapped in a mental cycle that amplifies even the smallest concerns. This constant mental pattern can turn the mind into a true misery-making machine, where suffering originates from the intellectual process itself. This situation occurs when a person fully identifies with their thoughts. Instead of seeing them as something temporary and manageable, there is a fusion between the self and the thoughts that arise, creating the illusion that these narratives are the only possible reality. This results in unnecessary and intense emotional burdens that fuel even more suffering. In this state, the mind takes complete control, and the person becomes a hostage to the internal stories they create, unable to break free from this cycle. To reverse this process, it's essential to cultivate an observer stance toward thoughts. This can be done through practices like meditation, where the person focuses on their breath and learns to notice their thoughts without clinging to them. Over time, the mind starts to calm down, and the cycle of suffering is interrupted. This distancing allows the person to see that thoughts are just mental creations, and that suffering can be avoided by not identifying with these constructs. Suffering, in essence, is an internal construction. When we go through difficulties, the tendency is to amplify negative emotions, feeding a cycle of pain that feeds on itself. What we often fail to realize is that if we are capable of creating suffering through our interpretations and beliefs, we are also capable of creating joy and peace. This happens because suffering, in most cases, is not caused by reality itself, but by how the mind processes and reacts to that reality. If the mind creates narratives that amplify suffering, we can also reprogram it to create narratives that bring contentment and lightness. By observing how we react to situations, we begin to realize that much of the pain we feel is tied to our resistance to accepting reality as it is. By trying to control the uncontrollable, clinging to what has already passed, we feed suffering. However, the key lies in letting go of these chains and allowing ourselves to see things from a new perspective. To practice this mindset shift, it's helpful to set aside moments during the day to reflect on how we're interpreting situations around us. Ask yourself, is this pain real, or am I creating unnecessary suffering based on my resistance? This simple questioning begins to disarm the cycle of self-created suffering. Little by little, we start to generate states of joy and inner peace, showing that the same mind that creates suffering is also capable of creating happiness. Much of the suffering we face is related to the identities we've built throughout our lives. We often define ourselves by the roles we play, whether as professionals, parents, partners, or friends, and we cling so tightly to these identities that when something threatens them, suffering arises. When we believe we are only these identities, any change or loss can create a profound sense of emptiness and confusion about who we really are. However, these identities are merely fragments of our existence and do not reflect our true essence. When we are fully immersed in an activity or in a moment of genuine joy, these identities temporarily disappear, revealing that we are much more than the labels we carry. Understanding this allows us to free ourselves from the pressure of rigidly maintaining these roles, letting life flow with more ease and less resistance. The useful practice to begin freeing ourselves from these identifications is daily reflection. Ask yourself, who am I beyond my roles and labels? By exploring this question, a person opens up space to connect with their essence beyond the labels imposed by society. Over time, this practice brings a sense of inner freedom, where the fear of losing these identities diminishes, and the suffering tied to them begins to dissipate, leading to a more authentic life. We have all experienced moments of peace and freedom from suffering, even if only for brief instants. Whether while appreciating a beautiful landscape, during a moment of silence, or when deeply engaged in something we love, we feel that for a moment, suffering disappears. This shows us that freedom from suffering is possible and is not necessarily tied to external changes, but rather to an internal state of presence and detachment. True freedom arises when we learn to deal with suffering consciously. Being free from suffering doesn't mean we will never face challenges or painful emotions. Life is full of ups and downs, and these experiences are part of the growth process. However, the difference lies in how we react to these moments. By practicing observing our thoughts and emotions without being carried away by them, we begin to develop a new relationship with suffering. It ceases to be an enemy to be avoided at all costs, and becomes something that can be understood and transcended. A practical way to start cultivating this freedom is to set aside time to simply observe emotions as they arise, without trying to suppress or cling to them. If a feeling of sadness or frustration comes up, for example, just recognize it and let it pass without judgment. Over time, this practice creates a healthy distance between you and your emotions, allowing suffering to lose its power. This way, you become more resilient and capable of facing life's challenges with greater ease. Imagine having complete control over your body, mind, and vital energies. It may seem distant, but this is the key to fully mastering your destiny. When a person learns to align these three dimensions, they begin to influence not only present circumstances, but also how they live, and eventually how they face the end of life. This mastery isn't about exerting external power, but about harmonizing internal energies, create a more fulfilling and conscious reality. As we gain this control, we start to realize that many of the obstacles we face are the result of internal imbalances. For instance, when the mind is agitated, the body responds with tension, and vital energies become stagnant. Practices like yoga and meditation are effective tools for restoring this balance. They help synchronize breathing with movement and thought, creating a harmonious flow that revitalizes the entire being. Thus, a person starts living more consciously and present. To apply this in daily life, a tip is to begin a simple routine of breathing exercises, something like dedicating 5 minutes in the morning to breathe deeply, feeling the air enter and leave your lungs. This practice, although simple, can have a significant impact on how energy flows through the body. Over time, this small habit can expand to other areas, such as mindful eating and body movement, leading to greater mastery over life's energies. In the pursuit of happiness, many people confuse pleasure with true happiness. Pleasure is tied to external stimuli, such as food, entertainment, or material achievements, and offers only temporary satisfaction. As soon as the stimulus disappears, the emptiness returns, creating a constant need for more. True happiness, on the other hand, is an internal and unconditional state of joy that does not depend on external factors. It arises when a person connects with their essence and finds contentment simply in being alive. When we are fully present and alive, pleasure loses its importance. This doesn't mean we can't enjoy the good things in life, but the obsession with constantly seeking pleasure diminishes. A person who experiences true happiness no longer needs constant stimuli to feel good, as they find satisfaction in the simplicity of the present moment. It's a state of deep balance where inner peace prevails and the mind calms down. This state is accessible to everyone, but it requires stepping away from the attachment to external pleasure. To begin cultivating true happiness, try setting aside daily moments of connection with yourself, away from any distractions. It could be something as simple as sitting in silence at the end of the day, appreciating the moment without judgment or expectations. Gradually, this practice of being at peace with the present teaches that true happiness doesn't come from what you consume or achieve, but from how you connect with the now. This state of true happiness is what we all seek, even if unconsciously, and it's within reach for those who allow themselves to live beyond momentary pleasure. Human beings have a unique capacity for conscious evolution, something that sets us apart from other animals. While most living beings follow instinctive patterns, humans have the freedom to choose their path and reinvent themselves throughout life. Every experience and every choice we make can bring us closer to our maximum potential. This capacity for continuous transformation is one of the greatest gifts of our existence, and when we use it consciously, we create the life we truly desire. Unlike animals, who are driven mainly by instincts and basic needs, humans can reflect, learn, and shape their behaviors and thoughts. This ability to reflect gives us the opportunity to grow and evolve, regardless of external circumstances. When we embrace this potential for evolution, we begin to see every challenge and obstacle as a chance for learning and development, rather than something that paralyzes us. To start exploring this potential, a useful practice is to set aside moments in the day to reflect on your choices and actions. Ask yourself, do the decisions I made today bring me closer to my true potential? This simple questioning can open a path of self-discovery and growth, where every small adjustment in daily choices leads to a life more aligned with your purpose. Human potential is limitless, and conscious evolution is the means to achieve this profound transformation. Yoga goes far beyond a physical practice. It is an ancient technology aimed at uniting body, mind, and spirit. Purpose is to help us transcend the limitations of the intellect, connecting us to a deeper dimension of our existence. Through the practice of yoga, we learn to cultivate inner balance that doesn't depend on external circumstances. The result is a clearer mind, more balanced emotions, and a healthier body, all functioning in harmony. Through conscious breathing and postures that align the body, yoga teaches us to live more presently, without being dominated by thoughts and emotion. With regular practice, we begin to see how controlling the body and mind is directly linked to overall well-being. A simple breathing exercise, for example, can bring instant calm in moments of stress, showing that the solutions to suffering often lie in our ability to manage our internal state. To start experiencing the benefits of yoga, you can dedicate a few minutes each day to breathing exercises. Sit in a calm place, inhale deeply, and exhale slowly, allowing your body and mind to relax. This small habit, when repeated daily, has the power to transform both your mental and physical state, leading to a more balanced life. Yoga is not just a practice. It's a journey of self-discovery and conscious control over the body and vital energies. Yoga is not just a physical practice, but a true inner science. It offers a path to transcend the intellect, allowing people to find peace beyond incessant thoughts. When we connect with yoga, we begin to see that mental suffering is often the result of identifications and conditioning that can be dissolved through regular practice. Yoga invites us to live more connected with our deepest self, where serenity and balance become natural parts of the experience. In addition to physical postures, yoga involves breath control and meditation, which are powerful tools to calm the mind and cultivate clarity. As we practice yoga, we start to feel that we no longer need to identify with our fleeting thoughts or emotions. This generates a sense of inner freedom, where suffering no longer has the same impact. Over time, yoga promotes a profound transformation, leading to a life more aligned with the essence of being. If you want to begin exploring the benefits of yoga, start with something simple. Set aside a few minutes of your day to practice conscious breathing. Close your eyes, inhale deeply, and exhale slowly, focusing only on the flow of air. Gradually, this practice will help you connect body and mind, bringing more balance to your daily life. Yoga is a continuous journey, teaches us to transcend the limitations imposed by the mind and live more fully. Throughout this journey, we have realized that much of the suffering we face in life is self-generated, whether through the mind that insists on creating fear-based scenarios or our inability to let go of the identities that define us. However, the knowledge we've gained about how the mind works and the connection to our human potential offers us powerful tools to transform this reality. Suffering doesn't have to be constant. It can be overcome as we become aware of our inner power. Yoga, meditation, and the practice of conscious observation are paths that help us transcend the limitations of the intellect, allowing us to live in a more balanced and connected way with our essence. By applying this knowledge, we are building a new relationship with our emotions, learning not to identify with fleeting thoughts, and living more fully. The key is to integrate these practices into our routine, making small daily adjustments that, over time, bring about profound transformation. If you wish to continue exploring your potential, delving deeper into topics such as self-discovery, mental health, and personal development, subscribe to the channel. There's much to explore, and each step of this journey reveals something new about you. Join us on this journey and discover new ways to live with more lightness, balance, awareness. Turn on notifications to receive new content that can transform your life, and if this video made sense to you, leave a like and share your experience.